Hello there, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for keeping it the Uganda Catholic Television on this Wednesday, the 12th day of March 2025. I am Sunday Gloria Abwatch with Uctv News. As Christians observe the Lenten season, the Uganda People's Congress Party, UPC, has called upon believers to use this sacred period to pray for peace and unity ahead of the forthcoming general elections. Speaking at the party's weekly press briefing in Kampala, the Uganda People's Congress Party spokesperson Sharon Oyat Arach emphasized the importance of prayer and hope, aligning with this year's global Lenten theme, Let's Journey Together in Hope. Arach urged Christians to reflect on national stability, peaceful coexistence and hopeful future for Uganda as they engage in fasting, prayer and almsgiving.
Christians worldwide began the 2025 Lent season on March 5th with Ash Wednesday, marking their foreheads with a symbolic cross. This 6-week period leading up to Easter is a time for fasting, abstinence, and giving up cherished habits in remembrance of Jesus' 40-day wilderness journey, where he fasted and resisted the devil's temptations before starting his public ministry. Meanwhile, this year's Pope Francis' Lenten message emphasizes the importance of communal spiritual growth and hope during the Lenten season, as embedded in his message, Journeying Together in Hope. According to the Uganda People's Congress Party spokesperson, Sharon Arach Oyat, Pope Francis' message to the Catholic community bears significant relevance, particularly considering the country's current political climate.
With a theme that says Journey Together in Hope, this theme comes in handy considering what Ugandans are going through, considering the political environment across the country.
It's upon this ground that she urged Christians to dedicate the Lent season to God, seeking divine intervention in the upcoming general elections, which have been marred by brutal violence against Ugandan citizens in the past.
We are saying that as we head to the year 2026, we call upon all Ugandans, as we fast, as we meditate, as we reflect, let us put our country in prayers, and also let us reflect as Ugandans, try to understand why we are going through what we are going through, and also how best can we change our country for the betterment of ourselves, for the betterment of our country, and also the next generation to come.
In the same spirit, Sharon issued a stern warning against the government to ensure that the forthcoming general elections, including the Kawempe North by-election, is not only free and fair, but also peaceful to mitigate any potential national security eventualities.
UPC, we are very much disappointed, and we hope that as we are calling out and crying out to the security agencies, the justice system, the government at large, and saying this has to put a stop to it, otherwise Ugandans will end up taking things in their own hands in order to protect themselves from the system that has failed to protect them.
This comes at a time when the electorate of Kawempe North constituency prepares to go to the polls to elect a replacement for their late legislator, Muhammad Segrinya, who passed away on January 9th of 2025. Joseph Kabale, UCTV News.
The Irute South County Member of Parliament, Jonathan Odu, has raised concerns over a failure by government and the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to table the 4th National Development Plan, NDPIV, for adoption despite its approval by Parliament. Honorable Odu emphasized that ministerial statements cannot be approved without the National Development Project, or rather Plan 4, as it serves as a key pillar guiding resource allocation and budgeting in Parliament. The 4th National Development Plan builds on the achievements, challenges and lessons from the National Development Plan 3, with the overarching goal of achieving higher household incomes, full monetization of the economy and employment for sustainable socio-economic transformation.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Madam Speaker, we have received the ministerial policy statements and we hope to receive others. These ministerial policy statements are anchored on some national framework. last time I brought to your attention the reluctance, which has now turned to the defiance of the Ministry of Finance and the Executive to bring here the National Development Plan 4 as approved by Parliament for adoption. The ministerial policy statements cannot be processed without the National Development Plan, whose pillars guide and inform Parliament on the resource allocation. It was your directive, Madam Speaker, that this was supposed to be brought on the 2nd of March. It has been defied, and they seem not to be bothered, and Parliament is being taken for granted. Would it please you, Madam Speaker, to prevail over this matter? Otherwise, if the front bench Minister of Finance thinks it's not, Parliament is not an important stakeholder in this process, why are they bothering us? And why would we waste our time and resources to look into this ministerial policy statement? And I must point out that it is not, I'm not raising it for the sake of it. Some regions of this country, where I come from, having gone through the war and having seen how the national cake has been deliberately served at a higher percentage to some areas and others left behind without roads, without schools, without health centers, and for us we are supposed to sit and escort them to develop their area. Madam Speaker, that is unfair.
Honorable Minister, you had asked for 2 weeks too, and it was very simple. You were only supposed to go and incorporate what was discussed, what was raised in this house, putting in mind the equity, fairness, regional balance, and bring and lay it on table. I even asked the minister to first give me and I look at it before it is laid on table. Up to today it is not brought. What do we do?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. And I thank the Honorable Member for raising the issue. There is no reason as to why government cannot share NDP4 with the Parliament. There is no reason, because the document has been prepared for Ugandans, including MPs. Secondly, it is also not true that as we plan and budget, that we leave out particular parts of the country. We know for a fact that the northern part of the country was affected by war and conflict for a long time, but from technical studies, there is evidence that what we call the Gini coefficient, which measures issues of inequality, there is a great improvement in the north. But yes, no. There is a way we measure inequality, and the point I am making, that while that part of the country,
there's an order.
Madam Speaker, the reports released by the government consistently, from the poverty status assessment report, from Uganda Bureau of Statistics, etc., government agencies have clearly pointed out that the north, Lango, Karamoja, Acholi, Teso, and Busoga, have worsening poverty situation consistently. The report of the Equal Opportunities Commission assessed and found, 1, that we are nowhere in this government. 2, that we are at only, yes, in terms of employment. It's a report of government available. The road network, that the entire country, we have only 3%. 3%, Madam Speaker. This is the report from the Equal Opportunities Commission.
It is time for Today in History. Thank you very much for following us on UCTV News. And that's all time we had for you this Wednesday evening. I'm Sunday Gloria Aboch. Good evening and good night.